going to break down my essential tech stack to managing a virtual team of 60 plus from across the globe. Now, if you're unfamiliar with my story, I started a call center back in 2021, which is DIY Real Estate Group. And that is completely managed and operated and service delivered by virtual assistants entirely. So I started with 0 virtual assistants and got up to 60 in a matter of 4 years. And what's crazy is that after year 1, I actually got up to 35 virtual assistants and actually completely cannibalized and crushed my business, and my whole operations collapsed. I lost half my virtual team. I almost lost my business in the process. And so I'm very passionate about this discussion today that I'm going to break down with you all, which is ultimately the systems and things that you need to have in place so that your team doesn't get burnt out and that your operation doesn't collapse like it did for me in my first year of business. So we're going to break down my essential tech stack, but we're going to focus today specifically on one tool, which is Discord. But there's so much that you're going to see when I go into my company's Discord that we operate out of, so many different channels, so many different ways to build standard operating procedures, so many automations that we have leveraged, and other tech integrations that we've made with other products like ClickUp and other CRM, Podio. So we're going to go over all that today, and then make sure that we wrap up with clear action steps on what you guys can do to go out and start getting your virtual operations built in 2025. So my goal here, team, is to help you avoid the mistakes that I had when I was going out and building a company back in 2021. And so these are the things that I had to learn the hard way. I'm going to move my mug here over to the right. So what causes an operations to ultimately collapse, right? Number one is no standard operating procedures, right? SOPs, you hear it all the time in entrepreneurship, but really making sure that you have a process when something happens in the business, right? If there's an incident with an employee, if there's an incident with a customer, if there's an incident with your product or service, what needs to happen in order to solve that problem and address that problem when it occurs in the business. And so having that clear playbook is going to be super helpful, because your VAs are going to know exactly what to do when the incident occurs, of course. So number one is no standard operating procedures. That's a number one red flag, and ultimately will lead to the collapse of your operation. Then number two is there's not an established hierarchy. I had this problem when I first started building my team. I was taking people that were in individual contributor roles to start with. Then I hired them into managerial roles, and many of them were rushed into those roles. And so that caused a lot of friction with people trying to understand the roles and responsibilities, the hierarchy across my operations. And so that really is a major problem if you don't have that clear understanding of who to go to when problems occur, who's going to make decisions when issues occur, and who's going to ultimately drive the ship forward every single day. And then number three is you need to have that system in place. Okay, and once we figured out standard operating procedures, once we figured out that structure of the clear hierarchy and who's managing what across the team, now we need to have a system in place so that we can manage our day-to-day efficiently, so we can avoid burnout and ultimately help to increase our culture, which is the fourth and final bullet here. Because if you fail in these areas, this is going to get your employees burnt out. It's going to get disgruntled employees, disgruntled contractors, as we call our virtual team members, and that's ultimately going to hurt your culture. But when you do these things in syncrasy, I can tell you it's a wonderful thing, and you're going to build a kick-ass virtual team, which is my goal for each and every one of you watching. So make sure you avoid these things. And here's a great system that you can leverage to do exactly this, right? This is a system that we're going to go over. It's going to be Discord today. That's going to help us break down team collaboration, team auditing, quality assurance across your different departments, culture building and engagement, recognizing team members, giveaways, bonuses. You're going to see a lot of those occurring across this Discord server. And then lastly, it's system in place for ticketing, right? For your internal ticketing system, for our clients' service delivery ticketing system. And then I think actually this goes without saying, but in case I missed it, training, right? You're going to see the rooms that these guys and girls can jump into in real time, regardless of having to be in the actual physical office, right? They're just jumping into these rooms as if it was an office that they can go in and get help, get questions answered in real time from a quality assurance manager, from a team leader, right? And then they can get that feedback loop just as if they were in the physical office together. So let's, without further ado, jump into our Discord channel. And what's crazy is that I just got access to this after 2.5 years of building this and rebuilding this. So I was amazed at the setup that our team has created. So I'm going to try to minimize my mug here. Let's get out. All right, so let's start off the top, right? And this, if you're unfamiliar with Discord, it's a lot like Slack for those that are familiar with that in the corporate world, but it's a instant messaging platform, but really a hub for you to house your entire virtual teammates, and do a lot of instant messaging, do a lot of, again, as I mentioned, auditing, and just overall team collaboration. But let's start with some of the channels that are most important for us. So number one here is you can see like, hey, company announcements, anything that's going from the payment processing side to quarterly goals and initiatives to holidays and time paid off, right? Being able to get company-wide updates in real time. You can see my HR manager and us doing exactly that. Then the HR handbook, right? So this is super key. I mentioned like one of the biggest things that I didn't mention in this video, but I've mentioned in a lot of other videos for those that have followed us for a little while now, which is, hey, when some problem occurs within a teammate or an employee, what is the incident handling process look like? And let's go to the playbook and see how we have to address that, who needs to be involved in a meeting, and what is that ultimate standard operating procedure, right? So that is one of many things that these teammates need to learn when they come on board. And you can see the HR handbook is easily accessible. They can revert back to it at any time. And it's pinned here to this channel here in the information section. And then you start seeing the different departments, right? Systems department, client success, cold calling, HR, data. What's cool is that actually we have role-based access control, meaning every single person across the team, depending on the department that they're in, will have access to only their department channels and no other departments, right? The managers and the operations leaders, they have access to everything because they're admins, but the team leaders, the teammates and the individual contributors, right? All those people that are data specialists, they're only going to have access to the data channels. All those people that are cold callers, they're only going to have access to the training rooms related to cold calling, and the cold calling team leaders. So it's great to have that level of organization. And then you can see here going down the line, right, starting with systems, this is where the team can submit tickets related to client system issues, related to our own internal system issues. And so it's just a great way for them to all get updates and share feedback in real time on their tickets, their IT tickets. And then going down the list, right, you see team ops, cold calling team operations, right? These are quality assurance leaders. These are cold calling team leaders that are actually physically training the callers on how to better improve their cadence on the phones and actually how to become better agents and lead managers. Then you have our quality assurance leaders and our operations leaders in our CSM discussion channels. So this is anything related to sensitive client needs. So if there's anything related to clients who are having low lead gen months or needing some tweaks related to their campaign systems or caller, this is where they're going to get that feedback and kind of like, hey guys, this is what we need to do, all hands on deck. Can we get an update on next steps for this client and go ahead and make sure that there's no delays in the client experience and service delivery. So a couple other important channels as we go through, QA coaching and operations, HR, data management. Let's go down the list here because data is huge, right? When you think about our business, we have campaigns, we're doing cold call campaigns, and we're targeting for every caller roughly 10 to 15,000 records per month. We have some clients that have 5 callers, 6 callers, right? That's 50 to 60,000 records alone for one client per month. So we have a lot of data moving at once. So those orders need to be organized. They need to be on time. And we need to make sure that we're not having any hiccups when it comes to getting lists, skip trace, cleaned up, and on the dialer as quickly as we possibly can. We cannot avoid delays. So you'll see sometimes our teammates are engaging in English versus also Arabic. We have a lot of Egyptian team members, but it's a good group. It's a good group of, I'm very blessed to have these teammates on board. They're super organized. They make my day-to-day a lot easier because I'm a visionary. I have a lot of ideas, but I have a really hard time keeping them organized. So they do a really good job having this business structured. And then you can see the voice meeting rooms here, right? You can just jump right in and just have instant collaboration, instant communication with a team leader, with a managerial figure. They're always in there and they're always available whenever they need it. And then also too, it's not all about just work. It's also, getting some downtime, right? Being able to vent about certain things. We have some great channels here related to mental health, emotional support, right? These are people, right? These aren't robots. These aren't pieces of software. We need to have spaces for them to talk about things that are going on in their life, things that are happening in the work environment. So we take it very, very serious. So you'll see a lot of fun things, a lot of memes, and other incentives that we do. I want to share that very quick. This is a little hack for those that are looking to build and manage a team, which I hope everyone is at this point. But we're going to look at the bounty list. So this is a fun activity that one of my operations managers created. Dina, I'm going to give her flowers. So you'll see here, we're going to create a bounty list, and we're going to post this in, we're actually going to post this in the Discord channel with all the cold callers. And for anyone that gets a lead for these clients that are in the red that need some high attention, we're going to give them an instant pay bonus. So 100 Egyptian pounds, I think it's like $2 or something in USD, but we're going to actually send that to them, right? It's not just going to be added to their bonus at the end of the month. It's not going to be added to their next paycheck. It's actually going to be sent to them in real time. So they're going to get paid that day. And it's been massive for getting people on board, right? You'll see here our quality assurance leader, cold calling team leader. She's sharing the winners of the bounty bonus. So one group, one person. Nice. Habiba got 2. Cool. So those are some fun things, guys. You got to build culture. You got to implement different activities that can get the agents excited. It's not a fun job that they're doing. So whatever you can do to incentivize them and make better quality leads for our clients is the best. It's always in their best interest. So you have here some additional rooms that I'd like to point out is the ClickUp orders. So here you can actually, the team can put in skip tracing orders. It integrates directly into ClickUp, which is our project management tool. And this is where you can actually see some of the orders and what their status is in real time. So they, are doing their day-to-day. They can submit an order live. Go through here. And then they can get status report updates from the data specialists on where those orders are at. And they can see here as well, the team updating these in real time, tagging them appropriately. When's the due date of that list? Look, this client has 6 callers with us, so we have a lot of lists going at once. So these are, some of the things that are just crucial when having an operation like this, right? A lot of different departments needing to collaborate, a lot of different people in the mix to deliver the service that we're delivering for quality leads for our clients. So it needs to be structured, needs to be organized, and they need to have a system in place. And Discord's a great and free tool to do that for you, which is incredible. If you enjoyed this video, first and foremost, just slam the like and make sure you guys subscribe, because I'm going to do a lot more videos going under the hood of what it's like managing a virtual team of 60 plus from across the globe, and going deeper into the tech stack and tools that we use to properly manage this group, so that you guys can avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made back in 2021 and go out and build a virtual team of your own in 2025.